The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom marks the first new 2D Zelda game since 2013's A Link Between Worlds. This new 2D entry brings many elements from more recent Zelda games, while doing something no other title has dared to until now. Let us play as Princess Zelda herself. Whether it's the free-form puzzle solutions thanks to the Tri-Rod, or the return of traditional dungeons, Echoes of Wisdom is shaping up to be a clever mix of old and new, sure to please fans of every variety. Here are 15 things you need to know before you buy The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom when it launches on September the 26th. Open-ended puzzle solutions taking a cue from Tears of the Kingdom. Trailers and previews have shown a nice variety of puzzle types, and they all seem to share something in common: open-ended solutions. Like Tears of the Kingdom, Echoes of Wisdom gives the player a wide assortment of tools to solve puzzles and fight enemies. One of those tools is your Tri-Rod, which creates duplicate versions of pretty much any item and enemy in the game, called Echoes. In addition, there's the Blind ability, which tethers an obstacle to Zelda, allowing you to creatively move things around the environment. Reverse Bond is even more interesting, binding Zelda herself to any moving object. The Traversing Hyrule trailer demonstrates the Reserve Bond ability, with Zelda dashing across the map attached to rolling enemies, hanging along sliding blocks, and even taking flight with a bird. It'll be fun to see what solutions players come up with, considering the wide array of echoes and abilities such as Bind and Reverse Bond at their disposal. Identical UI and menu elements as Tears of the Kingdom. Another aspect of Tears of the Kingdom that Echoes of Wisdom borrows is the menu and UI design. The map, heart pieces, and item selections are all situated in identical locations on the screen in both games. But more substantial are the menus themselves, which unfortunately require the player to scroll through every item on hand in a single row when using Echoes. Remember how frustrating it was to find that specific material needed for fusion in Tears of the Kingdom? Well, selecting Echoes looks to provide the same kind of frustration with the single-row menuing involved. Thankfully, you can sort Echoes like you could with materials in Tears of the Kingdom. I just wish we could search through more than one row like the main menus allow us to. File size. Zelda games, 2D ones in particular, have never been known for their large file size, and Echoes of Wisdom is no different. The Nintendo Store listing for The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom notes that its file size requires 5.6 GB of memory. By comparison, the 2019 Switch remake of Link's Awakening was 5.9 GB. Tears of the Kingdom's file size was a hearty 18.2 GB. As expected, Echoes of Wisdom is much smaller than its large 3D sibling, sharing a similar scope to Link's Awakening. Whether the slightly smaller file size is a result of better optimization or a smaller game, the latter is doubtful, remains to be seen. Zelda can fight directly using a sword fighter form. To the delight of many players, Zelda can fight enemies directly using the sword fighter form. The form mirrors Link's own moveset with its shield blocking and circular spin attack, but the princess adds extra flair with her unique Echo ability, which can be used alongside sword fighter form. Zelda will need to replenish the sword fighter form gauge by using energy specifically found in the still world, so fighting as Zelda directly does have its limits. Automatons. Yes, that's right. Zelda can even use machines to overcome enemies and obstacles. Remember the gravedigger Damp? Well, he's now an engineer with a workshop in Echoes of Wisdom. Damp will make automaton machines for you to use, but be careful. If these machines get too damaged, they break. The automatons vary widely in their ability. Some are shown to damage enemies using musical notes, while others have been used like an automatic turret above Zelda's head. Having Echoes, sword fighter form, and automatons at her disposal opens up the possibilities of combat and puzzle solving to an exciting degree. A mix of top-down and side-scrolling perspectives. Echoes of Wisdom takes one of my favourite aspects of Link's Awakening and turns it up a notch, combining top-down and side-scrolling perspectives. A majority of the game is played in the traditional top-down view, but what separates Echoes of Wisdom is Zelda's ability to jump on top of trees and climb buildings through the use of echoes. You can even swim through the ocean shores, making this the most open-ended 2D Zelda game yet. The side-scrolling sequences function more as traversal puzzles, requiring clever usage of echoes to get through the obstacles and traps laid out through them. Ability to jump without feather for the first time in a 2D Zelda game. Of course, you'll need a certain amount of athleticism in order to reach all these tricky areas, and that's where jumping comes in. Trailers have quietly confirmed the ability to jump, as demonstrated by all the trees and echoes Zelda is shown jumping across. This will mark the very first time in a 2D Zelda game that jump is inherently in the gameplay controls and not tied to an item like Rock's Feather from Link's Awakening. This also allows for more platforming sequences than past 2D Zelda games. You can ride horses across Hyrule. But why jump when you can ride? That's right, for the first time in any 2D Zelda game, you can ride a horse as your method of travel across Hyrule. Past 2D Zelda games facilitated faster traversal through the speedy Pegasus boots, but Echoes of Wisdom finally includes an Epona-like stallion to gallop with. The cool thing about the horse is that you can gallop over smaller enemies and leap over ledges and fences. Summoning the horse just requires you to craft the Carrot Echo, and it can be called from anywhere to boot. What's more, there appears to be at least 2 different horses shown riding with Zelda in trailers, so it's likely a variety of horses can be tamed as you encounter them. Fast travel. And finally, why gallop when you can just instantly warp? Fast travel isn't a 2D Zelda first, but it's still a very welcome sight for Echoes of Wisdom. Waypoints are hidden across the large map, unlocking your ability to fast travel to its location upon activation. No doubt, these waypoints will be the very first thing players look for when entering any new environment. Tons of side quests. It's a good thing there's fast travel in Echoes of Wisdom, because you'll need instantaneous travel to complete the game's many side quests. The trailers mostly showcase fetch quests, so expect to create echoes of various objects to bring back to the quest givers more often than not. Judging by the density of the 5 towns we've seen so far, players will have a lot of rupee rewards from quests to keep their pockets full, and content to keep them busy. Lots of NPC characters. Speaking of quest givers, Echoes of Wisdom has a lot more of them than it may seem. The game is filled with colourful characters with their own personality and stories to tell. The elderly man seeking to cheer his wife up with some flowers is one such request that stood out to me from trailers. Characters are also found adventuring outside the game's villages, requiring Zelda to help them overcome an enemy ambush or to locate a lost family member. I'm curious to see how much development these side characters get, considering how much Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild fleshed out its characters. An extensive array of character types across the entire series. One of the more interesting takeaways from the Echoes of Wisdom trailers are the mix of old and new characters that inhabit this iteration of Hyrule. I like that the classic Link to the Past River Zora and the more modernized Sea Zora have their own separate villages within the Farron wetlands. Echoes of Wisdom also features the all-female Gerudo tribe, situated in the heart of the Gerudo Desert, and the fan-favorite Gorons, nestled in the mountainous Eldin volcano. With regional names like Farron and Eldin referencing Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, this game is a mashup of ideas across the series. Where this mixing of elements places Echoes of Wisdom in the wider Zelda timeline is anyone's guess. You can dress Zelda up with many different outfits. Echoes of Wisdom features accessories and clothing that enhance Zelda's parameters in various ways, but best of all, they show cosmetically when worn. There are only 2 types of outfit pieces, as shown in trailers: accessories like hair clips and slippers, and clothing. This means that you can mix clashing outfit pieces like the Zora flippers with a Deku scrub shirt to create some wild combinations. Whether you want to min-max outfits based on the situation or just ignore all their buffs for their visual aesthetic is up to you. Still World Rifts. Hyrule has been beset by rifts which take objects to a realm called the Still World, where they may vanish forever. Each Still World rift looks different from the last, hosting unique challenges and obstacles to overcome. Nintendo have been persistent in pointing out how varied and unique each Still World rift will be in their appearance and content, iterating on the depth zone idea that players found repetitive in Tears of the Kingdom. Massive dungeons are back. Inside each Still World rift are dungeons. Yes, that's right, traditional Zelda dungeons appear to be back. Nintendo has specifically characterized these rift dungeons as massive, so here's hoping they feature layers upon layers of levels filled with locked doors and hidden chests. The lack of traditional Zelda dungeons in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have disappointed a portion of the fanbase, especially of the 2D crowd, so the inclusion of Still World dungeons in Echoes of Wisdom may satisfy the decade-long dungeon drought at long last. So what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below, and if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.